I'm Rashana, and this video is going to be about, or is for my senior capstone, and basically I'm going to be talking about my 2 years going to Tolles for cosmetology and my internship that I did through Tolles, and just a little bit of things that I learned in my experience through that. Alright, so as I said before, I attended Tolles for 2 years, my junior and my senior year, and I heard about it by my friend. She was like, oh, you could go to Tolles and take cosmetology and stuff, and then you can graduate with your license. And I was like, seriously, that's really cool. And that wasn't the only thing that said, oh, like, let's just do cosmetology. My mom was a cosmetologist, and she used to own her own salon when she lived back in Connecticut. And then my aunt is a nail tech, so that kind of like played a role in my decision as well. And I was just like, why not try it? I like painting my nails, so like, why not? There's no harm being done. So I just decided to go, and I ended up going to one of the shadow days, you could say, and I went in there, and I wasn't like, I thought it was really cool because there was a salon. I was like, wow, this is awesome. And then they're just kind of talking to me, and like, I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to go here. I don't want to leave my friends. I don't want to like be that person who goes to Tolles and get that Tolles reputation, you know? And then one girl came over, her name was Coriana, and she was just saying how she planned on going to college after she was done for business, and she wanted to own her own salon and spa. And I was like, that's me, like that's exactly what I want to do, and I didn't know if I could do that going through Tolles. So basically that kind of just opened my eyes, and I just started getting excited about it, and I was like, this is something I want to do, this is somewhere where I want to go, so like, let's just try it. So I applied and all that stuff, and I got in. And it was a good and bad, not bad, but like it was kind of a rough 2 years, but like it was good. There's just moments and stuff like where it was just like, it was challenging, and it was trying me as a person and like as a cosmetologist, and like kind of like, oh, do I want to do this still? So my first year I was kind of like iffy, like, do I want to do this still? Like, I don't know, like hair is hard, I'm not really getting it, and I get frustrated when I don't get it. These girls are faster than me, they're better than me. And I kind of was just like putting myself down. But like once I practiced more and like started getting things down packed, I was just like, you know what, like I need to keep trying. And I ended up getting better, and I just started like loving the industry as a whole. Just when my teacher would talk about like things that were like outside of school and like the opportunities you could have, it was just kind of like eye-opening, and I really liked that. My dream is to own a grand salon and spa that's greater than Charleston's own and Kenneth's and things like that. But that was my goal at the beginning. But now I'm kind of turning it around to, yes, it might be like I want it to be a great company and a great salon, but I also want it to be somewhere that I would want to be all the time, where I don't mind being all the time, because I'm going to have to put a lot of time, sweat, and effort into the place. And I kind of like realized more of what I wanted to do. Being in cosmetology kind of switched my mindset. So that was basically like the past 2 years of just learning all the things. We did have a teacher switch, and we had a new teacher who had 23 years of experience in Charleston Zone for our second year, our senior year, and our first year someone who had 28 years of experience being a teacher at Tolles. So it was a big transition. It was kind of rough on our class at first, just adjusting and stuff, and this is the year we go to take our test and our state board. But basically it ended up working well. She taught us a lot of things that we would need to know being in the salon, and things that were current. Last year was more of fundamentals and the basics, the things that would like root us, so we could know like more of what we needed to know to be able to do those new techniques and the things that were trending. So I enjoyed my 2 years at Tolles. As I said, it was trying at times. You know, being in a room full of 23 other girls is rough, and everybody has different personalities, and we're teenage girls obviously, so we each have our own different attitudes, and our days where we have good days, bad days. So just like experiencing that. My first year we had a thing where we got to vote for people, and so treasurer, president, vice president, things like that. And so I ran for president. I just basically got up and I had to say why I should be president of the class. And this was kind of nerve-wracking because I didn't know anyone really. Like, I only knew like a couple people who were from Davidson as well, but I didn't really like know anyone in that class. And it was kind of hard to get up and be like, this is why I should be your president, because like that's kind of, I didn't want to make it seem that I was being overconfident or I was selfish or anything like that. But something clicked in my head. I just clicked into a different mode, my business mode, I guess, and I was like, I should be your president because I eventually want to be a salon owner, and this will help me progress and learn things that will help me be a salon owner, and I will respect you as you respect me. I will make sure that everyone's like doing the right thing and things like that. Like, I will be as good of a role model as I can for everyone else. And basically I won, so I'm the class president of my cosmetology class by voting. So everybody can call me, like, go up to me and joke around and be like, hey Prez and hey President and stuff like that. But I mean, I didn't really do much of a presidential role, but I mean, people, I could tell people kind of looked up to me in that aspect. Like, people always ask me, oh, what do you do with this? What should we do with this? Blah, blah, blah. Like, always ask me questions, and that kind of makes me feel good that people can come to me and ask me questions. But just like being at Tolls was a good thing. I was a student ambassador, so I was involved in giving tours to 7th graders and like freshmen and sophomores, trying to get people to come to Tolls just like someone got me to come to Tolls. And I love talking to people about it. And I'm no way saying like Tolls is the beautiful school, great school, like saying things that people want to hear. I'm honestly speaking, like, this school has taught me so much. It gives you so much opportunity. Even if you might not like the people who you're around, that's fine. You're there for yourself. You're there to benefit your knowledge and things like that. So basically, I just did that as a student ambassador, and I was the president of my class. I was pretty involved at Tolls. But Tolls has taught me a lot, just as I said, like the switching my mindset of what I wanted to achieve as being a salon and spa owner, and my goal in that. And I am going to be attending University of Cincinnati in the fall, and I will be going for marketing, so I'm going to go down the business route, so I'll be able to have like a little bit of a business background when I go to own my own salon. So that's what I'm going to be doing after Tolls, but I will be taking my test in a couple of weeks to be a licensed cosmetologist, and I already have a job lined up, and it's the job that I have been interning at since February, and it's now May, so I've been interning there for about 3 or 4 months, and that internship has taught me a lot. If I did not have that internship, I don't know where I would be, because it taught me things of being in the business, being behind the chair, dealing with actual customers, and dealing with people who are coming in, wanting those new trends, and just things like that, and people skills and personal skills, and being able to watch the stylist handle, you know, those rough clients who know specifically what they want, and like, oh, I want my hair like this, oh, are you doing this right? How to deal with those type of clients, because I was always scared, like, what do I do if someone's telling me like what to do, but like I know that's wrong what they're saying, but you know, the customer, the guest is always right. So what do I do in that situation? Which I learned that there. I learned different techniques for hair color and cutting, all that stuff. I've learned so much, and I've gotten to meet really inspirational people there, and just being around the stylists is great. And as soon as I walked in there, I was like, this is somewhere I want to be. Like, I can see myself being a stylist, being behind the chair, dealing with clients. People's clients have told me, like, you're gonna go great places, like you're gonna go far, like your future's so bright, I can tell your personality's great, you have a great smile, like all these things. It was just building my confidence. So if I didn't have this internship, I wouldn't be where I am, and I wouldn't be as confident as I am. I'm not saying I'm super confident. I still have my insecurities about my like skills, my abilities, but I'm confident in, like, I know that I can make it in this business if I just put the work effort towards it, which I know I can. So they just kind of built me up, and those days I was having rough days, and I was able to bring in a client and stuff, and I started freaking out. One time I cried even before the client came because I just had a bad day at school, and I just was so stressed out, and it was like everything was going on in my head, and I was nervous. I was like, what if I mess up? I don't want to mess up. Like, she's gonna, like, this is one of my mom's coworkers, like, I can't mess her hair up. Like, this isn't, like, I can't do this. Like, And I was just kind of like beating myself down and like, you got this. And I was like asking all these questions to them, like, should I do this, should I do that? And then like finally when she came in, everything like kind of cleared out, and I was just like, hi, how are you? Like turned into like a business person and my stylist self, and just kind of, you know, getting the conversation going and getting the work done. I'm a slow worker. I have been slow since I started cosmetology school, and I'm still slow. But I'm more of a perfectionist. I don't want to do anything so fast that it's bad. Like, so I take my time. It might take me a while. It might take me 3 hours for a highlight, but in the end result, my client or my guest is sitting in my chair saying they love their hair, and that's something that I can't really explain, the feeling of someone being able to have a guest in your chair and they walk in and they're like, oh yeah, it was a rough day at work, and then walking out like with a radiant smile saying like, I love my hair, I feel like a new person. Like, that's just something that is something you can't get from sitting behind a desk 9 to 5. And that's why I was like, I don't see myself sitting behind a desk 9 to 5. Like, that's not me. And sorry, it's loud, my washer's going, but just like, that's not me sitting behind a desk, answering phones, typing on the computer. Like, no, I need to be talking to people. I love talking to people and just hearing people's stories and their experiences. And that was kind of my view. And I just loved my internship. And Rochelle, which I will be inserting a clip of an interview I had with her, asking her some different questions about being a salon owner and being in the business and a stylist, because she does own 3 salons, and 2 of which are in Cleveland, Ohio, and 1 is here in Dublin, Ohio. So she travels back and forth, and just, you know, she's an educator for Paul Mitchell. So I questioned her about some things, interviewed her, and asked her a few questions about like her experiences through like how do you do this? Because she is kind of my inspiration. She came into Tolls once to teach a class for Paul Mitchell, like a product knowledge class, and I just fell in love with her. Like, she was just awesome. Like, her energy was up. Like, she was just la la la, like going. Like, she'll just talk and talk and talk about the business and where she came from, and it was just so inspirational sitting there. And I was like, I need to be around her. Like, she's someone I need to be around, because she is where I need to be, like where I want to be. Like, I need to hold her bobby pins while she's somewhere. Like, I'm willing to do that. So I just emailed her and I was like, hey, like, I was wondering if you had any openings for an internship. She got me in, we kind of interviewed, and, you know, started talking about that, and it escalated into me having a job in the summer and being able to work there, and I'll be coming back every other weekend to work in the salon and just be able to, you know, keep up my skills and learn new things. And I think that's like a great opportunity. I'm very grateful for Michelle and for my teacher, Miss Pugh, for bringing her in and bringing in Paul Mitchell, and I would have never met her. So I'm just grateful for them both. I'm grateful for everyone that has brought me along this way and gotten me here, especially my mother. She has taught me so much. But basically that's kind of like my 2-year journey and like where I've been. I feel that the impact I will make on this industry in the cosmetology field, and just doing hair and nails and skin, things like that, anything cosmetology, I feel that, or my goal is to impact people in a way that change their views on life and change their views on their selves and their beauty, and, you know, just kind of like get them thinking, get them more spontaneous. Like, I'm a spontaneous person. I love traveling, so I want to incorporate things from different countries into my salon. So those people who are homebodies and don't want to really travel outside the country or let alone their state, I want to get them kind of like, I want them to come into my salon and feel like they just traveled the world and got world's experiences and things like that, and just like have them walking out as a new person. And I want to meet everyone and meet new people and just like, you know, impact people's lives as they impact mine. I can only impact a guest's life as much as they impact my life. And I love that about the cosmetology industry, and I'm very grateful for going to Tolls and having this opportunity. So it's only up from here, and I can say that from being where I was as a child and being a senior now and just reflecting back on this time that I had, it has been like a long road, but it has been a great journey, and I've learned so much, and I'm grateful for everyone that I've met on the way, even those people who have tried my patience or, you know, challenged me as a person and challenged my views. Like, those people taught me the most, and I'm just grateful for that. And yeah, so this is going to be my senior capstone. After this little portion, I am going to insert the clip of my interview with Rochelle, the salon owner at Studio 3, and I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone, so this is Rochelle King. She's basically my mentor. I internship at her salon, Studio 3, which is in Dublin, Ohio. How I got about getting this internship is she came into Tolles, which is my career tech school that I go for cosmetology at, and she was teaching us a class on Paul Mitchell, and I was just like, I like her energy, she's inspirational, and I need to be with her because she's going to lead me on the correct path. And I just messaged her on Facebook, and I was like, hi, I was just wondering if you have any openings for an internship or anything like that, and then we just got to talking, and the ball started rolling, and here I am. So I'm going to be interviewing her today, asking her a few questions about just the salon business and being a cosmetologist, and yeah, so, okay. So, first question, when did you first know that you wanted to be a cosmetologist, and what age were you?
So I knew I wanted to be a cosmetologist when I was about 12. Back in the day, we had our Barbies, and there was only one Barbie. Like, she had long blonde hair, and I started cutting them because I wanted them to look different. And I would lay them out and use Sharpies to color her hair, like different colors, like Rainbow Bright and all those things. So we didn't have a lot of money, so it was kind of like I was limited on my toys, and I kind of took that action. And then I was getting home perms. My grandma would wrap my hair, and we'd use Lilt, which was like a foam perm, and I have baby fine hair. And they'd wrap it on pink rods, which is the size of your pinky, right? So it was kinky and fuzzy and bad, and when I finally got old enough to go to the hairstylist, I realized that I was like drawn to fun things. So I think I was 14, and I loved Cyndi Lauper, and I went to the salon after school. I walked there. My mom didn't know I walked there. And I had her shave the side of my head. And I had her do a checkerboard. And my mom came to pick me up, and she went in and was screaming at the hairdresser. Because she was like, how could you do that? Like, what did you think? Well, she's like, well, Rochelle said that's what she wanted. And I knew I was already inspired with that. Again, went back to this whole episode of my life where I used Kool-Aid. Before kids were like, there was no fashion colors, I used orange Kool-Aid to make myself look like Cyndi Lauper. So you might not know who Cyndi Lauper is. You're gonna have to Google her. She was like, girl, just wanna have fun. You know, that was me. So I was Cyndi Lauper, Madonna, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, all on one girl. I had the glove, I had the bracelets, I had the leather jacket, and the high tops. I was a smorgasbord of bad. Wow. You're like, I don't know if I have another question. I was just very eclectic. I always like, I kind of like all of that fashion and put it together and made my own look.
Yes. All right, so next question. Why did you choose to own 3 salons, and which one was your first?
Why did I choose to own 3 salons? I didn't choose it, it happened. I don't think a lot of times like, oh, I didn't say like, tomorrow I'm gonna go open my 3rd salon. Actually, this is my 4th salon. So at 23, I bought my first salon. When I was 30, I sold that salon and opened up Studio 3, and then went about my path of owning these last 3. So no longer own my original salon, kind of just happened. And why? It just feels right.
That's so funny.
It's just fun. What else would I do? I don't know if that answered it, but that's what it is. It's just. And did you read my little news thing that I put out there, my newsletter? I put it on the studio on my own Facebook page. So we're 9 years old at the studio. So that was like, that's where I think that was my coming of age. So I was 33. And I know you have a little bit of religion in you, so if we know that's when Jesus actually died for us, when he was 33. And I kind of look at life and the fact that so many of us don't realize like how our journey should go. And I really grew into myself at that time of my life, and got offered a job with John Paul Mitchell Systems in Oregon, of all places, Oregon. Like, I'm gonna pack up my family and head across the coast. But I had a minute where I thought I should go. Like, I was like, wow, that's such a great opportunity. And I was working backstage with Paul Mitchell, and I was talking with one of the people, and she's like, wow, do you think you're gonna do it? I'm like, you know, it'd be so great, like it's endless opportunities, what a dream. And she's like, you're gonna take your kids? And I'm like, well, yeah. And it's hard to leave your family. So I kind of redirected myself. I was stuck at a traffic light, looked over it, I can vividly remember this. I looked over at the space and it was empty, and it was, the windows had like brown paper over it. And I was like, wow, that's such a great storefront. And where the salon is, it's Ohio City. It's a really up and coming neighborhood in Cleveland. But 9 years ago, it was ghetto. And I went home and told my parents that I signed this lease, and they were like, what are you doing? Why would you do this? And I had no clients, kind of like here. I had no clients. I had no staff at that time. I hired kids that were right from beauty school, and we just kept doing it. And we finally built a clientele, and we've been successful. So that's kind of like how it mixes. It's just believing, just doing it.
When would you say is a good time to start a salon?
When would I say is a good time to start a salon? I have so many thoughts on that. Making sure that you're comfortable with your skill level. Like we talked earlier, a lot of times stylists will open a salon because they don't like their owner any longer. So they go with all the things they no longer like, and they think they're going to do it differently and do it better, so that's why they do it. I think having some sort of a business background is always great. Knowing how you're going to get your capital, or if you have capital saved up for that. And just in my heart of hearts is kind of having your ducks in a row. Do you know how to get a loan? Do you know where to buy equipment? Do you know, so like doing all your research. And I'll be honest, I didn't do all my research. I just figured it out. Like it was like the school of hard knocks. And I think sometimes you have to just jump in, but making sure you have all of those, are you ready for long hours? Like I would work 14, 16, 18 hours, you know, some of that behind the chair, some of that cleaning my salon, some of it, you know, there's a lot of sacrifice. So are you ready to sacrifice for that business? Or do you need to like make sure you have like a silent partner or different elements to go into it?
How difficult was it starting your salon, and how much really goes into building your own business?
How difficult was it to open my own salon? I cried a lot. Lost weight, gained weight, because I lost weight because I had no food. Then I gained weight because I had to eat all the wrong food and I was stressed out. So I think it's a forever going battle though. Like even when you own it, you still have to be working on it. I kind of like to think of it like a treadmill. And we've all gotten on treadmills before, right? And kind of start out at that walking pace, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna speed it up. I'm gonna get to a nice little jog. And then all of a sudden, think if that thing went on high speed and you were running. That's sometimes what my business is like. So you gotta like pick up your own pace, and then sometimes it has a really big incline and you really don't wanna keep going. But what happens if you stopped? You'd fall off, right? So you can't fall off or you're gonna fail. So you have to dig in a little bit deeper, set new goals. I also say you sometimes can only eat an elephant one day at a time. So figuring out what's going to make you successful that day, that week, that month. And you know, we do that here with setting the goals for the girls, like what is your year goal? So if you have a year goal, what is your month goal? So if you have a month goal, what is your week goal? If you have a week goal, what is your day goal? Because you can't, like, it's like losing weight. If someone says they want to lose 100 pounds, you lose focus if you don't break it down and say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds this week, and then it gradually gets to your 100 pounds. So as a business owner, I think it's knowing where you want to go and figuring out how you're going to go there every little step of the way. And it's not easy, but it's so worth it.
Why did you choose going to a vocational school?
So the question is why did I choose to go to a vocational school? It was available for me. My parents didn't have a lot of money saved up for me. I also thought it was going to be a catalyst. I thought that I was going to go to college, and once I started doing hair, I just realized I was really good at it, so I was making a really good income at a very young age. So college just never happened for me. It's okay, like I don't regret it, but I've done a ton of training with, going to trade shows, to finding great mentors, 16 years with Paul Mitchell, and they do business training for us. So my avenue was still to keep learning. It just wasn't with a certificate, truthfully.
How long did it take for you to build a clientele?
I'm still building it. 24 years. I don't think you can ever stop building a clientele. I think you can be comfortable after probably a year to 2 years. 3 years, you should definitely have a lot of repeats. Because you have to think, a guest only comes to see you every 4, 6, or 8 weeks. So that's once a month, every other month, or every 3 months. So some guests might only see you 4 times a year. So you might not really build a great relationship with them. First visit might be really scary. Second visit, you might be now revisiting take-home products. You know what I mean? So it's a long relationship. And I'll always say to people, like, this is our first date. And I don't know, I want you back for a second date, a third date, and we really have to kind of work towards that long-term relationship.
What, if you could pinpoint one thing, what is the most difficult and the most easy part of working behind the chair and owning a salon?
Oh geez, that's 3 questions. So let me break this down. So easiest thing for me behind the chair is absolutely talking to people. That is my gift. Anywhere I go, I can strike up a conversation. I think I'm very approachable for people. I kind of have that girl next door kind of feel to me. So I think that's the easiest thing, is I don't think I'm intimidating. I think people are like, yeah, this is good. She's comfortable. I like her. She's listening. So I think that's the easiest thing. Your second question was, the most challenging thing? I think the most challenging thing is to make sure your communication, because my idea of short and your idea of short could be 2 different things. My idea of blonde and your idea of blonde could be 2 different things again. So making sure to slow down, to do a really good consultation, to know if they want the change because they want the change of their hair for a new look, or is it because they're sad? Because we do a lot of things just like we would do if we were eating, right? Like, if you think about this, is like, do we eat a cheeseburger because we're hungry, or do we eat a cheeseburger because we're emotional? So is that person in for a haircut because they are ready for a big change, or did they have a big breakup, or did they run into some money? You know what I mean? Like, in what is our relationship going to be? Is it going to be this one visit because she needed a new look, or are we looking to build like this long term? So I think that's one of the hardest things. Like, technically, I'm not afraid of any of it. Like, I don't have any fabric of hair I won't work with. I feel comfortable with all of the elements of the business. And then your last part of that was owning a salon. If you could repeat that back to me, I'm sorry.
Like the most difficult and the most easy part of like owning a salon.
Oh gosh, the most difficult probably is staff. You got to understand staff. They're always got their own kind of agenda, and that's okay. But being open to them and communicating with them and making sure they understand my vision, like, what do I see Studio 3 as? And I see Studio 3 as the best salon in Dublin. But this might be just, to them, a place to make a living, which is absolutely okay. So now I need to make sure that they understand what my vision is. And my vision is every guest matters, right? Like, every guest that walks through the door has to be treated like they're the only guest. It doesn't matter if you're 5 deep in the salon, you need to make that person have the most extraordinary experience. So making sure that the message doesn't get diluted is probably the hardest thing with owning 3 salons. I have to kind of revisit it almost continuously. Like, I'll go and work in one salon and everything's worked out, and then there's like a fire in the other, you know what I mean? Like, someone's angry over something, someone didn't put something back. So then it's going back and regrouping them, and like, really just kind of saying, does it really matter? Like, we're really here for the guest, and we're really here for a bigger purpose. And it's a community, really, is what it comes down to, is knowing that people want to be a part of something, and they choose to be a part of our salon, and making sure that the staff is aware of that. Like, you are blessed when someone sits in your chair. And if you don't get that, then I don't know if they really should work for me. And that's really kind of my message, is always like knowing that we're fortunate. We're fortunate we don't work out in the climates. We're not doing jobs that are uncomfortable. Like, I mean, I would have loved to have been a nurse, but I don't like blood, and I don't like things like coming out places that they shouldn't be. So the worst thing that I have to do is apply some color, have a conversation, cut someone's hair, flat iron, and I get paid. Like, it's kind of silly that I get to do my hobby all day long, but being consistent, being present is hard for me because I'm in all three places, and working with Paul Mitchell and working with BTC and working with Donald and starting my own career, like other journeys. It's hard to like let everyone know that I'm present, and you know that I'm reachable. You've reached out to me, like you said, you reached out to me the day you met me, and I got right back to you. Like, it's not like I'm this person that's like not like right there. I'm on that ground level. I appreciate cosmetology students because I remember what it was like 24 years ago, and going to my first trade show and seeing Jeannie Bra, that was Paul Mitchell's stage partner. And Jeannie was still doing trade shows, and I was like I am right now, sitting on the edge of my seat, and I was watching her, and I looked over at the staff that I was working with, and they were 20 years in, and I looked over and I'm like, I'm gonna do that. And they rolled their eyes at me, because their dream wasn't that big, and that's okay. Their dream wasn't that big, but sometimes I've heard them talk and it was that big, but people told them they couldn't do it. So I've always encouraged people. I'm like, you know, whatever you want to do. When you ask me to interview, I'm like, absolutely. Like, what do you need so you can have a successful senior project? So that's what this is for, is your next step. And then you're gonna, you know, keep going, and we're gonna look back at this and laugh, and we're gonna put Periscope in my phone, and we're gonna make magic. So I don't know, just keep dreaming, girl.
I will. How much can you make by working behind a chair in a cooking salon? Doing good.
I think you can make as much as you possibly want. Last year I made on my own, for my salary, was over $80,000. As a business, we made a little over $500,000. So now that gets broken down to all the staff and different things. So there isn't a ton of money that's usually left over for a business owner in this business. It's about 7 to 10% is what is your profit at the end of the day for your business. But again, that's not horrible. You're going to probably work behind the chair, so you'll be making a salary in that direction. If you didn't work behind the chair, know that you probably would have to have another avenue of income, or you have to have the salon moving and grooving. Because if it makes only $200,000, you're probably only making 20 grand. And that's not enough to live off of. That's like poverty. You know, so that's kind of the reality, knowing that a 10% is a profit, or you're gonna have to have other incomes. So if you work behind it, would you take a paycheck? So that's something that, you know, over time we can discuss, but there's money to be made in it. It is hard work though.
And if there's one thing you would tell an inspiring salon owner, what would it be and why?
An inspiring salon owner, I would absolutely tell them to have good systems. So people don't fail, systems do. And I think that's where we kind of go wrong, is we don't develop, like, how are we going to take people to the wash house, or how are we going to answer the phone, and we kind of rely on the people to do it. And people don't want to fail, but they do it all their way. So always have staff meetings, help people know their numbers. You've seen me do that many a times, is giving everyone, like, we keep score, and we believe that keep score you do more. So if you don't know what you're doing, how do you expect people to do more? So we're trying to, like, every month make sure they know exactly what they're doing, setting a goal to grow off of that. So just kind of keeping an eye on your business as a business, but also making time to work with your staff and to help your staff grow as individuals. And because everybody has their own personal dream. You know, to some of them it might be buying their first car, or getting their first apartment, or preparing for their first child. So everyone has a different means of why they're here. So I think making time to review that with them, and making sure your business is clean, making sure you're staying educated, always going to like advanced classes. And that can go from learning about new trends to learning about new tax returns to learning about new state board. So there's so many like hats that we wear. And there's a commercial that always makes me laugh. It's like this guy comes in and he's like the mechanic and he's like, hey Bill, and then the next minute you see him, they like have him dressed as like an accountant, and then someone walks by and they're like, hey Bill, and then the next minute you see him underneath the sink and he's doing something else. It's knowing that as an owner, you wear a lot of different hats. You know, you're not just going to be behind the chair in this glamorous position. You might have to spend a day with your accountant, and if it's hard to be with your accountant, then you need to do it more often. So if you're really strong at something, you don't need to work on it, and I always think you're only as strong as your weakest link. And that's a quote that I always start to think back, is if you're only as strong as your weakest link, the things that you're bad at, you should work on the most. So it's no longer your weakest link. So, and that goes to whatever trends or something is that. So I think that's helpful for our newest people in the world.
And then one last question is, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Come closer. Come closer. I see myself in 10 years definitely still a huge part of education. I hope to own a cosmetology school, so that's something I think is near and dear to me, is teaching. I want it to be my own private school that probably will have like 25 to 30 students, and then advanced academies in the evening. So like we would only do day. So students would come like 9 to 5, 9 to 4. I would love for it to have an area where people could have like their children there, so that like there could be daycare involved. I see it as like a whole element, like a facility, a culture. I see it also where I'm going to write a book, and you know that's happening in my life. So those will keep evolving. I hope to be an icon of the industry. I mean, it's the only thing I can think of is there's going to be more and more and more. I'm not retiring. I'm thinking to do hair at least 30 more years. So I'm 42. I think I'll be at least in my 70s and still trucking along, like a little bit in the industry. So hopefully we'll always be together. Somehow we'll be connected. Yeah.
All right, so that's all my questions. Thank you so much for doing
It
this.
was a pleasure. Yeah. And if we need to do anything else, we'll keep going. Thanks.